Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag higher by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022 to Tuesday, October 18, 2022. Prominent achievers, educators, and industry experts will address the audience. Universities and educational institutes from different corners of the globe will present themselves to the audience of Avenir 2022. The event is open to all educational boards, including CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It will provide comprehensive career guidance to students to pursue their passions at national and international universities. Avenir 2022 guarantees a wealth of information and awareness on 21st century courses, scholarships, internships, and career placements. This event will assist students in discovering their ideal future career path. Let us gather together for this 5 days of excitement, effulgence, enlightenment, exploration, and exaltation. Let's join Avenir 2022 to discover you.
When you want to know how things really work, study them when they're coming apart. A quote by William Gibbelson. Good evening, one and all. Let me take you to the listings of what to expect in today's session. It is also the first session of the mega event Avenir 2022, #Discover You. The welcome address will be followed by a brief introduction and a video on an eminent speaker. After his presentation, we shall then invite the eminent speaker for his presentation. We shall request our guest speaker to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the Q&A segment. The continuing session will be taken up by the university spokesperson. The detailing of the courses available and the process of admission will be put forth. We shall conclude the session with a vote of thanks. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make the positive difference to the world. Roy T. Bett.
What a fantastic quote to begin this session. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Avani 2022 #Discover You, a global career guidance program launched by Indian School Bhasha under the aegis of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of the Indian School Bhasha, I, Valentia of Class 10,
And I, Prerna of Class 9,
take the proud privilege of expressing our profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the altruistic and noble benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower His choicest blessings on His Majesty, and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
we are happy to welcome all the students, parents, and teachers to be a part of Avania 2022 #Discover You. Thank you one and all for your benign presence here this evening. It is with sheer joy and great pride that I take the task of introducing our speaker today, Mr. Sunil Sadasivan, a civil engineer with specialization in project planning and management, associate member of Institute of Town Planners in India, worked as a project manager with OQ Distinguished Toastmaster, winner of many speeches contest, former divisions director, Toastmasters, counselor of Carols Club, public speaker, trainer, coach, and humorist. Do your research in communication.
We would like to request the audience to kindly post your queries in the Q&A box. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming our speaker, Mr. Sunil Sadasivan. The platform is all yours, sir.
Thank you, wonderful MCs. Thank you for the wonderful words of introduction. And today, I have come here basically to talk about one of the key skills that every individual student should possess as you are going forward in your academics as well as later into the career, and that is called communication. I chose to speak about communication because of a multitude of reasons. Now, I'll just tell you a few things about it. Just let me share my screen at first. I think you can see my screen. Can you?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Thank you. So let's try to understand what communication is at first. Communication is the transfer of information from one person to another, whether or not it elicits confidence, but the information is transferred must be understandable to the receiver. This definition, there are plenty of definitions. I chose this definition because it was given by a person called G.G. Brown, who is an analyzer of speeches. Now, let us understand there is a relation, an inextricable relation between communication and leadership. You can see the three pictures which are on the screen. And do you identify all three of them? How many of you identify all the three of them? I'm not sure, being students, you must be identifying all the three of them, but I'm sure that all of you must be identifying the third person. Now, these are the three people: Homi J. Bhabha, Vikram Sarabhai, and of course, APJ Abdul Kalam. Now tell me, why you identified only APJ Abdul Kalam, even though Homi J. Bhabha and Vikram Sarabhai were perhaps better scientists than APJ Abdul Kalam himself? The reason why you identified APJ Abdul Kalam is because he was a better leader than the two of them. And what makes him a better leader was his ability to communicate. And how many of you would remember this particular quote by Abdul Kalam? Dream is not that which you see while you sleep, but it is something that does not let you sleep. I'm sure that many of you have heard about this sleep and spoken about this, about this quote and spoken about it as well. And here, this particular quote is adequate for me to remember him as a leader, because it was a message, a very crisp a pithy message that he was able to transmit to the world, which is memorable. And that shows the skill of communication that he had. It is not only because he was the president of India and the other two could not become anything like a president of India, but only because of his skill in communication that is being remembered much more than anyone else. Now, here today I'm talking about, I have titled my topic as communication in 3D. Communication has multiple dimensions, to be very frank. But here I'm not taking up all the dimensions, but I'm talking about only 3 dimensions of communication, which perhaps would help you. And communication is the most sought after soft skill, especially when you complete your college and go to your employment. You will realize that you stand a step better if you have better communication skills, irrespective of what your academics are. Now, a research conducted in 2017 by someone called Nitin Kulkarni in northern Karnataka, it was a sample study. It was shown that 75% weightage is given to spoken communication and 25% only to the written communication. So remember, here I'm mostly focusing on spoken communication, how important it is, how you can, what are the the detailing, the nuances of it, and how you can work on developing. First is to understand communication in total, in its multiple dimensions, and that will help you develop yourself as good communicators, which eventually would help you when you are walking into the corporate world. A good communication is an inevitable thing for a teamwork. If you want a team to work for you, that is when you become a leader, you need to be able to communicate very effectively to the team what we want to achieve as a team. And that is why communication is the most inevitable factor of a teamwork. And here, the three dimensions which I'm trying to address is the skill of speaking, non-verbal communication, and of course, listening, because I believe these 3 are basically related to the spoken communication. Now, let us look at it this way. You know what? 70% of the time that you're awake, you're communicating with others, especially when you're into the job or at a time when you're into business, etc. At that time, you will find that 70% of the time you are awake, you will be communicating with someone or the other, your family members, your colleagues, your subordinates, your clients, your customers, etc. And in this communication itself, out of this 70%, 16% of the time you will be reading, 10% on writing, talking. You will be spending almost 30% of that 70%. But then the most of the time, mind you, you will be spending on listening to the communication from others. And therefore, here I'm giving a lot of emphasis on this particular factor, listening, although I'll be talking about it towards the end of this program. Right now, we will be speaking about how we can speak, or rather talk to the people, and what are the various skills involved in it. Right. And always remember, listening is the most important single communication skill, because that amounts for almost 45% of the time that you spend in communication. Now, what is communication? Here, I'm just giving you a symbolic diagram of what communication is. Communication always involves a person who sends a message, and the message goes to the receiver, and the receiver will have to give a feedback. And when the message goes and the messenger receives a feedback from the listener, and that is when the cycle of communication is complete. Always remember, a communication in a scientific way, it is complete only when feedback is obtained. So you as a listener, it is your responsibility to give a feedback to the speakers. Today, I am speaking to you, and when you are coming back with the feedback on what I'm saying, that is when my job becomes anything that is worthy of. Now, speaking about the spoken communication, there are 7 C's of communication, as they call it. Let us see what are those 7 C's. Yeah, they are. First thing is, your communication should be very clear. So you should be very clear about the purpose of your message. When you're trying to send a message to someone, the very core purpose of your communication is to send a message, right? And you should be very clear about the purpose of your message itself. Now, your communication has to be complete. When I'm talking to you, I have already admitted that my communication is not complete because I'm not taking everything related to communication. However, whatever items I'm trying to send you is complete by itself. There is a particular segment of it has been taken out, and I'm just trying to share with you. It should be concise. When we say complete and concise, they seem to be contradicting each other. But you should always make your communication concise, because you should know the attention span of people is very less. So you should be selecting your words in a very careful manner so that the communication remains concise. Then correct. You should always give the right information, which is based on facts. And the information has to be very accurate. And when you're speaking to people, whether it is one-to-one conversation or when you're speaking to a group of people, you should speak in a courteous manner. You should be polite, friendly, and you should be sounding rather professional. You should be considerate of the audience. There is no point in my coming here and talking to you about rocket science. 2 reasons. One, I'm not an expert in that subject, nor I've learned that subject. And secondly, most of you may not be much interested in it. I have chosen to talk about communication because that is a subject which relates to everyone, and it's a subject which I have been practicing or learning for some time. And your communication has to be well organized. You should know how to start with it, what are the contents that you should have, and how it has to be organized in a logical manner. Now, what you need to do is work on your written and spoken language, body language, and voice modulation, etc. You should be able to understand non-verbal communication. NVC means non-verbal communication. So as students who are aspiring to become employees at a later age, or when you are going to the higher studies, to civil service, or maybe trying your luck with the premium institutions, everywhere communication skill becomes a very important parameter for selection. And therefore, you should, apart from working on your spoken language, you should also be very conscious about how your body language is and how you can use voice modulation very effectively. See, body language and voice modulation, along with certain other factors, becomes a non-verbal communication element. I will just speak about it a little more in detail. Now, for that, let us look at this theory called Mahabian's communication theory. And this theory says, when you are listening to someone, what impacts you? It says the paralinguistics. Paralinguistics is basically here paralinguistics means the vocal variety, the way you are changing your voice, and that actually impacts you. Almost 38% of the impact is created by the way the person is using his voice. Almost 55% of the impact is coming from his body language or his appearance, etc. Then the words make only 7% of the impact. So you should understand this 55 and 38 together makes it the non-verbal communication element. So that is 93%. So when you are speaking to someone, imagine that you are sending in messages unknowingly through your body language or through the voice that the way you use your voice. And that makes almost 93% of the impact that you are going to make on the audience. Whereas your words make only 7% of the impact. So this is why the non-verbal communication is of utmost importance and one has to be very clear about it. And this is a theory which is came out as a research of a person called Albert Mehrabian in the year 1967. Now, we will look a little further into the non-verbal signals. What are the various non-verbal signals that you are often accustomed to, or rather the non-verbal signals which you radiate and you also see others radiating it. Okay, so here one of them is called the vocalics. Vocalics is the way you are using a voice, the way a singer, changes her tone, frequency, the intonations, etc. The way you are using your language, the way your enunciations are, your loudness is, how you modulate your loudness, the way you are changing from one pitch to the other, the speed at which you speak, etc., gives a lot of messages to other people, which may or may not be intended. So you should be very conscious about this, because when you're listening to someone, you will also be impacted much by the vocalics, which I said in the beginning, it is almost 38% of the total impact it makes. But it is not only non-verbal communication is not only that, it is much more than that. The way your body language is. Look at this lady down in the picture, and she is happy. You don't have to have anyone to tell you that she is happy. No words are required. It's just by the body language. She is radiating happiness. The way you are looking at things. Now, look at this girl. What does she convey by the looks? I leave it to you to imagine. And I remember, all of you might be remembering this picture, the look of Mona Lisa. And there are a lot of people, the philosophers, writers, authors, poets, etc. They all have written about the gaze of Mona Lisa, the meanings of it, the interpretations of it. It's all up to you also to make an interpretation by yourself here. And this is another very famous gaze which I could think of. It was published on the cover picture of National Geographic way back in 2004. And she was a girl called Sharbat Gul. She was an Afghan refugee. Although there was nothing very special about this girl, only because of that looks, the way she was looking at things and the meaning of the things were interpreted by a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So this is what oculesics is all about. The way you are looking at people convey a lot of message. Similarly, the way people look at you also convey a lot of message. The way you touch someone. Now look at this. This is a nun, touching a new entrant into the convent. And this is what does it mean? This touch actually has a message which is one of a bliss, perhaps. I'm just telling. Whereas if you just look at this picture, here also two people are touching. And what is more prominent there is the love and affection between the two parties. So here, when someone is touching you, the way they are shaking hands with you, etc., will have a lot of things to say about their mindset, the way they are looking at you, what they are trying to convey to you, etc. This is called the haptics. Haptics also is a way of communication. Proxemics talks about how nearness to someone gives certain messages. As children, they all feel protected in the company of their mother right, in the proximity of their mother. Now, here I can show you two characters. The lady out there, her name is Maria, and the man there is called Captain Vantrop. And Captain Vantrop is a very, very methodical and a typical military person, whereas Maria is a very boisterous, playful kind of a lady, and their basic natures does not really match each other. Now, that is why you can see the distance they keep when they are coming to each other, because Vantrop is having a little bit of disdain about this lady, whereas the lady is a little afraid of Captain Vantrop being a very methodical and systematic man. And now look at this picture. Here, what will happen as time passes by, they become good friends, and see the distance reduces between them. So this is happening in the real life. So when you look at two people, the amount of distance they keep from each other, it always tells you how much they are attached to each other. And do you know that you all carry that invisible bubble of almost 18 inches around you, which you dislike anyone to penetrate into? One of the examples is when you are entering into a lift. You might have seen when you're traveling in a lift, when a lot of people are coming in, that 18-inch distance is often broken. People come into that. And that is one of the reasons you become rather subconsciously very uncomfortable when you are in a lift and you don't speak to anyone. Have you ever noticed that even when you are in a lift, one of your best friends walk in and you say, good morning. How do you say that? Morning, right? You don't say it aloud even, because you are not in a very comfortable situation, because somebody has already penetrated into your private space, which keeps you uncomfortable. The way you are dressed up, it shows what your personality is. It's a representation of the personality. Just imagine a student who always comes to the class without properly dressing properly. It shows he is a little casual about studies as well, or about the school itself. A person who is not well dressed when he's coming to the office is not very serious about his work. This can be the interpretations, although it may not always be true. Now, what if someone is always very particular about dressing up properly when he is coming to work? It probably shows he is very particular and committed to his work. This is again Captain Vantrop, who is having that insignia of his military rank, etc. That shows how he is proud of being a military officer, right? A naval captain, and how much he is proud of his country, etc. So the objects that you use, that is the dress that you use, or any kind of props that you are using as part of your day-to-day life, might even tell people about. It will make people judge you as an individual. So be very careful about what you're dressing about. Chronomics is another interesting way of getting communication signals. Now, imagine that I'm going to the office of my friend Praveen, yeah, and he makes me sit for say half an hour. He tells me, okay, Sunil, please wait. So I'm waiting there for half an hour. After a little time, I become uncomfortable. And after about half an hour, then the time goes on till 1 hour. I become little, disturbed. And I start thinking why this gentleman is behaving this way. And then I become impatient and even walk out of his office. Now think of, from his point of view, what he might be thinking, why this gentleman was not able to wait for me a little longer. Can't he understand that I had something urgent to attend, otherwise I would have come back? Now, the way you are behaving in terms of time, it shows a lot again about what your personality you have, or what kind of mindset you have. What do you think of a student who comes to the class every day late? What do you think of an average Indian who says a train that is 5 minutes late is not late. Whereas if you go to Japan, they say a train that is late by a minute, they'll say the train is late. Because it's a cultural difference in looking at chronomics. Have you ever realized that having dinner with your family or your friends is actually creating a sense of attachment, right? And this is what Gustorics is all about. That is, when you have tasty food with someone, then you are sharing some happy moments with your people, right? And this is about, olfactics is all about fragrance. You know, the fragrance of the coffee, the fragrance of the rose, etc. That is, you might have seen that when somebody is proposing to a girl, they'll give them a rose because the fragrance has some impact on your mood. So these are all the elements of the non-verbal communication. Out of this, basically these three are the most significant ones: vocalics, kinesics, and oculesics. That is the way you use your voice, your body language, and also the way you are looking at people, right? Now let us see what are the effects of a non-verbal communication. One is your non-verbal communication complements the message that you are trying to give to the people. For example, if I say, I am happy, what are the ways in which I can say? I can say I'm happy. I can say, yeah, I am happy. Now, what do you think of the second statement? In the second statement, I really compliment the message, correct? Now, if I say, again, the same statement, I am happy in this way, imagine, I am happy. Do you think I am happy? No, because my body language or the non-verbal communication which I was conveying was conflicting with the words which I spoke. And then you don't believe the person who spoke those words. So only when you complement your words with your non-verbal communication, then only you will achieve certain amount of credibility with the listeners. Sometimes your non-verbal communication can entirely substitute your verbal communication. Have you realized when you wanted to scare a little child, what do? Just stare at him. Don't do anything, just stare at it for some time and the child will move away because you are not saying anything to the child, but the child gets scared of you, right? And that is what I'm saying. That is where you're not using a word, but substituting non-verbal communication for the verbal communication, and your message is still conveyed. Accentuate is again, once again, I have whatever I have said about compliment, it's almost the same. Where in accentuate, you will be doing it a little extra. So when you are given an award, so what do? Say, you just don't say, I'm happy, but I'm enthralled, right? So you will say, that is how you are accentuating your message because you wanted people to know how happy you are, especially. And that is when you use your non-verbal communication to accentuate your message. Why I told you all this is, these are all helpful in grooming yourself as an individual as you grow up, as you become, go into the college or into the job market. Here, there are 4 different elements which I wanted to tell you about. That is, we have now talked about the non-verbal communication and the verbal communication. These are the 2 dimensions which I have talking about. Now, what is the appropriate kind of body language or the non-verbal communication that you should have? So for selecting that, and you should have a self-awareness. You should be aware of your own situation. So look into yourself, identify what is the appropriate kind of a body language for you, which suits your personality, and use it. Then it should also be suited to the situation. Like, you have seen how you are going to, so imagine you are going for a wedding ceremony. You will be speaking aloud with a lot of joy in your words, but that is not the kind of voice that you will be using when you are going to a funeral, right? There you will be speaking at a low voice, etc. So your non-verbal communication elements as well as your communication elements should match the situation. Then you should also know about the entitlements of your audience, the people who are in front of you. When I'm sitting here and speaking to you, I believe that those who are listening to me must be benefited by understanding the various elements of communication, and that's why I'm talking to you, right? So you should know who is in front of you and what is it that they are interested in, what is it that can cater to their requirements, and you should choose your topic accordingly. And this is what entitlement is all about. And when you have the self-awareness and you are able to speak exactly according to the situation and modulate your style of speaking, and that is when you show an element of sophistication in front of you. And when you have self-awareness, situation, entitlements, awareness about entitlements and sophistication in you, based on that, you develop your personal style. So your personal style of communication should be developed on the basis of these 4 elements. That is what I'm just trying to say. And why do you have to have your personal style of communication? Is because you have to develop yourself as a brand. You might be aware of the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. No, I'm not getting political here, but I'm just trying to tell you, Narendra Modi has become hugely successful. One of the reasons is that he was able to brand himself. Modi is a brand. So that way, every individual should be able to brand themselves, and that is when you will get acceptability, and you will get, and the people will start trusting you, right? So this is why you should build your own style on the basis of these 4 elements which I told you, and that is how you can build your own brand, and you can keep on polishing that branding. Now, whether you use the verbal communication or the non-verbal communication, in whatever measure, whatever is important is the balance. You should be able to balance both of them together to suit the situation, and that is when you will be able to have your own style developed. Now, we were all talking about the messages as a messenger, a person who is communicating to others. As I told you, 45% of the time still you will be spending on listening. So let us also talk about the listening habits which you need to develop. Let us see what are the listening habits. The worst listening habit is not listening. Imagine you are in the classroom, your teacher is taking class, and you are not listening. You are just, looking into your WhatsApp messages. You are not caring about what is happening there. A pretended listening is better than a step above not listening. Pretended listening is you are more interested in the WhatsApp messages, but you just show to your teacher, okay, I'm listening, but you are actually in between. Your mind is in the WhatsApp messages, right? So this is what a pretended listening is all about. If you want to be a better listener, then you go to the extent of being a partial listener. So here you are having both the things done simultaneously. You are also listening to this WhatsApp messages which are coming from your friend. At the same time, you are also trying to listen to your teacher, right? So this is partial. But the focus listening, when it comes to focus listening, what you're doing is you are not getting distracted by other things, but you're attending to only one thing, which is called the class which is taken by your teacher. And that is what focus listening is all about. Interpretive listening is a little more than focus listening. You are trying to analyze what the teacher is saying, and you are trying to paraphrase the sentences the teacher is saying, trying to understand the meaning of it. And that's when you get into the mood of interpretive listening. In interactive listening, is a better listening practice, wherein when you don't have, you have, where whosoever is communicating with you will not be able to understand every single thing that your teacher is going to tell you, or anyone who is going to tell you that. So what you do, you will have to interact with them, go back and ask them questions and clarify whatever doubts you have, etc. So that is when you are an interactive listener. And the highest form of listening is called an active listener. Active listener is a person who become empathetic with the speaker. You understand this? This, as a listener, you should be able to be in the shoes of that speaker and try to understand everything. You are emotionally getting attached to the speaker, and that is when you become an active listener. Why I'm telling you this again is you have to develop good listening habits and focus. So here, what I would tell you is to become an active listener. Active listener is a step above the interpretive and interactive listener. You have to do the interpretations, that is trying to paraphrase whatever is told, try to clarify the points which are missed out, ask questions, etc. Apart from, you should also be emotionally attached to the person who is speaking, and that is when you become a good listener. And this is extremely important when you are in the world outside, when you have to communicate with your peers, your bosses, etc. There it is extremely important that you are able to understand why they are saying. At the outset, it might happen that your boss is telling you something which you don't like or you are opposed to, but be empathetic, try to understand why he or she is saying that. And that is how we develop the listening habits. So we need to move from not listening to active listening. Now, let us say listening, when I'm talking about, it's not only about listening with the ears, it's also about seeing anything that is in front of you in a proper way. Let us do a small exercise down here. Now, I just have a triangle here, and you have seen what is here. Now, let me ask you this question. Can you type in what was written in the triangle? Can I get some typed answers? I'm not able to see. Okay. Maybe the setting is not that way. Right. Now, this is what you have written. Did you write this one? How many of you have written a walk in the park? And if you have focused well, you would have understood I kept that particular picture there for quite some time. It is not written a walk in the park. Right? Okay. Now, let us also see about the listening habits a little further. What are the good listening habits and bad listening habits? What are the do's in the listening? You should have receptive gestures. You should be, when the teacher or anyone who is speaking to you, should be smiling, you should be nodding, and that is how you show them that you are listening to them. Empathize with the speaker. Try to be emotionally attached, as I told you. Repeat the message. You repeat the message within you. Analyze the message. Find out what are the various interpretations of the message. Try to paraphrase the message and learn for yourself. Yeah. Probe for the missing information. If anything is missing in the presentation, just probe for them, ask questions, clarify what is not understood. If you did not understand anything, just ask questions. And always ruminate the valid points. Even after the entire lecture is over, you go home, you just try to think what I learned, what are the good things which I had, and stuff like that. Then don't interrupt a speaker. Don't have prejudiced conclusions, right? And sometimes you have a rigidity with your paradigm. This means you understand things in a different way. Have you seen how the politicians speak? When a political party or a ruler, a person who is in the power, he does something good, the opposition leaders come and they will always negate whatever good things is done by the ruler, because they have a paradigm where it says, I am there to criticize the ruling party. So this is what a rigidity with a paradigm. This should not be. This is all about prejudice again. And don't switch over from the subject. Be within the subject, and no feedback is a daunt. So always make sure that you are giving a feedback to someone who is speaking to you. And also try to revise this, be about your lessons or any kind of speeches that you are listening to. Now, I'll just tell you something in a very simple form here. This is a word, a Chinese word for listening. You know what is the beauty of this word? It actually represents what listening has to be. Now, look at it. This represents the ear. You can see it looks almost like an ear, but listening is often considered as something that is happening through your ears, right? But it says no, it is something in addition to that. Plus sign indicates it's something in addition to that. What else is required? You should be able to listen with your eyes also. Even if you are listening to a speech, you should be able to listen with your eyes also, right? You should be able to see what the speaker is saying. And above all, this is the heart. So you should have the ear, your eyes, as well as your heart. What does it heart mean? Heart means that you should be emotionally attached to that person. And that is how the Chinese word actually tells you what this listening is all about. I just stop here because I think I have already talked about all the three dimensions of this. And now I have more presentation if you want, but then I really don't want to go into everything because it'll become too much. Now, let us open the floor for questions. I think interaction will be much better. Moderator.
That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by you, sir. Your creative and wonderful session enlightened us and kept each one of us engaged. Now, we would like to request our speaker, Ms. Sunil Sadasivan, to kindly answer a few queries put forth by the audience. For this, may I now invite the moderator of the session, Ms. Ambika, to pose some questions from the audience to you. Over to the moderator.
I'm sure there are bound to be a few questions. Let us take up one or two of them. Good evening to all. Let me quickly scan the questions received in the chat box. Sir, could you please explain us the difference between active listening and empathic listening?
Active listening and empathetic listening are the same. Empathetic listening is the highest form of listening, where empathetic means you are empathetic with the speaker. You are able to understand his emotions, what is going through his mind. You are able to think from his shoes, etc. So if you become an active listener, or rather you become an active listener only when you are able to practice empathy in your life.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So is there a way we can measure or assess effective communication?
There are no basic tools that way, because I initially, at the beginning of my presentation, if you remember, I told you about G.G. Brown, and he has written a book on this particular thing about how communication can be effectively measured. But I am not an expert in that subject. However, we can always evaluate a particular communication on the basis of the goods and what are the good elements of it, what kind of improvements can be made. But evaluating it on a parametric evaluation basis is not, I'm not very sure if there is any such technique available. It must be available. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful answers. We have many queries, and yes, the students can access the mobile and the questions will be directly addressed. Over to you, Valencia.
Thank you, sir, for all your support and guidance given to the large audience by attending to their concerns so patiently during the course of the discussion.
Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag higher by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022 to Tuesday, October 18, 2022. Prominent achievers, educators, and industry experts will address the audience. Universities and educational institutes from different corners of the globe will present themselves to the audience of Avenir 2022. The event is open to all educational boards, including CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It will provide comprehensive career guidance to students to pursue their passions at national and international universities. Avenir 2022 guarantees a wealth of information and awareness on 21st century courses, scholarships, internships, and career placements. This event will assist students in discovering their ideal future career path. Let us gather together for this 5 days of excitement, effulgence, enlightenment, exploration, and exaltation. Let's join Avenir 2022 to discover you.
It is time for us to move on to the second part of the session, the time to meet the university spokesperson. We are joyous to welcome Mr. Deepak Kalokhe and Ms. Preeti Lamba. He is having more than 15 years of work experience focused on business operations and profitability management, counseling in industries such as education, e-learning and telecom, driving direct, conceptual, customer-centric, consultative business, expertise in strategic planning, P&L management, launching new business verticals, budgeting and financing, business development, corporate sales, direct sales, key account management, client servicing, people and process management, branding and marketing.
He has the ability to initiate, develop, and retain client relationships, whilst contributing actively to both individual and business goals of the unit. During this tenure, he has also experienced a startup situation and has successfully launched multiple processes. Let us all watch a prelude video of the university. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And to start with, I congratulate Avenue 2022 for this wonderful platform which they have arranged. Now, the tagline is too good. It's like discover you. So the video what we have seen right now is like uh, change and transformation. So COVID, it's very important to things to be changed. And I'll tell you one incident which is appealing, and I think for today's world and today's youth, it should be a very motivational thing. And I guess it will be. I mean, so you people will be aware of that kind of incident. It's a true story. One person coming from Gujarat family, and he after tasting, let me say, bhajiyas and pakoras. So I know the guess you must be guessing who is that person. Then what happens is going further. After that, he goes and he comes to Yemen and he works on gas station, and he works day and night, very hard working in 1958. And again in 1992, he comes back to India with 50K, invest that 50K in textile industry. And after that, he becomes first Indian to be listed in Forbes Martian, listings. So I'm sure who is that person, you must be aware right now. So the person for you is, Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. Now, Dhirubhai Ambani, so that is the discover for you. That is the transformation for you, which we are looking forward for today's youth. Now, coming to this baseline for today's what we say a presentation, discover you. That I always say that discover you is like it is always a new learning, new way of learning and taking things and enhancing it to upgrade yourself. Now, I would be sharing some university history for you. Then after me, there would be my colleague Priti Lambert, who is an expertise in counseling as well as an university official representative. She carries around 7+ years of an experience, and she has a huge, what we say, a student following. So let me share a screen for you. I'm sure that my screen is, you can see my screen. Now,
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
thank you so much. Now, we are Ajinkya DY Patil University. The university is called an innovation university. Now, I'll just, take you through the university. The university is approved by UGC, and it's a state private university. Now, understand there are four types of universities where we fall into a state private universities, and it is listed under Association of Indian Universities, means that it is well known, across globe. Whether you are from any corner of the world, it is listed under AIU norm. So the university is valid. Then it is also approved by respective councils of India. For example, if we are learning pharmacy, it is approved by Council of Pharmacy. If we are learning architecture, it is approved by a Council of Architecture. If we are into law, we are approved by Bar Council of India. Now, as I said, it's a state private university. We have it is that we don't take any funds from the government. It is a self-funded, so it's a self-sufficient, and we are independent, which is approved by entire, entire, as I said, globe. You go any corner of the world, it is acceptable. Apart from that, let me, take you through the background. We are under the aegis of DY Patil Group, which is, a huge, well-known, itself an institute going and still going, growing big, 40 years of impacting, future ready education. And we are engaged in social activity, religious activities, and we are here from KG to PG. We have 10,000 plus students and it's still growing. Our founder member is Padma Shri, Dr. D.Y. Patil, our president, Dr. Ajinkya D.Y. Patil, and our vice chancellor, Professor Ridesh Deshpande. These are our, the brainiacs. These people are the pillars and they guide us now and then for our, ready future. Then we have governing body. Then we have, different, leadership and governance where we have, things where it is set up. If you talk about the governing body, we have legacy of education excellency, then board of management, academic council, university officer. So everything is listed, everything is set for us, and we have huge green campus of 120 acres. 120 acres where we have, entire sports arena, we have, a beautiful amphitheater, and we have, a lot of things for, youth. And we always believe in, balancing the part, not just, studying and studying, but we also go ahead with, giving them, what we say, baseline, a platform where they can perform their other skills too. What as we have, the academics, we have, six schools: School of Design, School of Engineering, School of Management, School of Law, School of Hotel Management, and School of Liberal Arts. So in all, we have 40 plus UG and PG programs. And we also, believe in T-shaped education. As you must be seeing that, we have, T-shaped professional, methodology where we have, relevant field as well as, adjoining field where, a person can, uh, practice his knowledge, his exercise in relevant fields, which is adjoining field, which is parallel field to his or her, interest. Then we have this, six kind of schools where, certain courses are listed. I'm sure my colleague PT Lombard will guide you through. I'm just, going a bit fast because the main important part is like, Preeti, my colleague will, tell you. It's like, the academics, we have, outcome-based education, key features, career paths. We have specializations, minors, and we have, credit-based system. And our pedagogy is very, 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 I'm say different. We have, 70% to 80% of practical things where, we do, a lot of practicals where, student can, easily, take into the consideration and then can practice into day-to-day life. With industry professional bodies, we are into like, foreign university tie-ups. We have called program like as a foreign exchange program. Then we have, inside practices where, as I said, we have different, culture and diversities. Then, clubs, forums, where we have, center of excellence. We have a platform which gives you a entire, research and innovation, what we say, triggers to perform your capabilities. These are few recognitions with the international universities where we give an equal opportunity to students to go to this the universities. Their student come to our university to, exchange the culture, and even one can, go and, complete their masters or MS to this kind of universities, which are we are tied up with this. Then we the admission and counseling process. Then again, my colleague will take you to still, We have asset intake eligibility fees installment. Then this is the process what we have.
All right.
This
Thank you
is
so
the
much.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you so much, Deepak sir. So first of all, very good evening to everyone and welcome to my presentation. So first of all, let me thank you all for being here with us virtually. And as you can see on the screen, I'll be speaking about Ajinkya DY Patil University. And we are located in Pune, Lohegaon. So let me start by saying a few words about my own background. I am Preeti Lambat and I'm working here as an admissions manager for School of Management and School of Hotel Management program. And I'm also responsible for the institutional and corporate tie-ups. So first of all, I'd like to give you an overview of the university. So as Mr. Deepak has mentioned, we are UGC and HRD recognized. And also we hold association with more than 24 foreign universities where we promote our students globally. So these, we have total 9 schools under ADYPU, which offers more than 80 UG undergraduate and postgraduate programs, so which includes School of Law, School of Management, School of Design, School of Hotel Management. We also have School of Engineering, School of Architecture, Law, Liberal Arts, and Film and Media. So we are going to have a question answer round at the end of this session. So I would suggest everyone to jot down their questions so that we can discuss. So if I'll talk about the admission process, so we have very professionally designed our admission and selection process for UG and PG students at ADYPU. But then before that, I would like to tell you about some of the USPs of our university. So first USP, which I would say is customize your education. So Ajinkya DY Patil University empowers its students to customize their coursework. A student can shape their curricula to meet their individual goals. And with our flexible curriculum, you can ensure that you gain skills and knowledges in the area that you love and you consider important for your success. After that, you can choose your courses to be taken from any department or any school of the university. And you can also aspire to develop depth in specific functional area or to go wide by accumulating diverse and portfolio of course credits. Second, I would say USP, which Mr. Deepak has also mentioned, that our global immersion. So we have a wide and expanding network of partner universities from different parts of the world, mainly from US, UK, and Europe. So our international partner university network provides us an opportunity for our students to travel abroad to study, while we host the students from our partner universities at our campus, allowing for a rich exchange of thoughts, ideas, cultural insights between students. So yes, and the third point, which is my favorite thing about the university, is innovation factory. So we call ourselves an innovation university. It's another distinctive offering of ADYPU, and it is a place where students together with their peers from the university, or I would say industry, solve the most pressing challenges of the industry as well as the society at large. And I would say the main aim of the innovation factory is to develop innovative products and services which positively enhances the quality of life of people and contribute to increasing India's competitiveness in the global market. So yes, apart from this, as my colleague Deepak sir has mentioned, that we have a beautiful infrastructure. We have our own sports academy. We call it ADYPU Sports Academy. So, and the infrastructure includes, like, we have total 120 acres lush green campus, which includes a full-size football court. we have a cricket field, we have basketball court, volleyball court, and n number of sports activities which we conduct at our university. Coming back to the admission process part, we have an amazing team of academic advisors and admissions manager. We have a team of counselors. They are going to guide you throughout your process. And the first step, I would say, for admission process is to fill an application form. So we require an application form from the student. Once they are done with that, we have our own entrance examination called ASET. And after the second step of entrance examination, we conduct students' personal interview round. And in personal interview round, we basically evaluate their performance on 3 aspects. First is their communication skills. Second comes their domain knowledge. And third, I would say, is their general awareness. So these are the 3 parameters on which we are evaluating our students' performance. And then if they crack the entrance examination and the interview, university will provide them an offer letter through which they can go ahead with the admission process. So yeah, that is all about the admission process. I know there are many students who are looking for UG and PG programs in India. So I'm going to share my contact details and the email ID. So if anyone needs any kind of information related to the university, or if they need career counseling session, they can definitely get into touch. So at the end of this conversation, I would like to end this session on a beautiful note, or I would say quote said by Benjamin Franklin. It's an investment is a knowledge. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So yeah, I would suggest everyone to invest their energy, their resources, their time to gain the knowledge. And there are so many opportunities available in the world. So over to you, Deepak sir. I believe that's it from my side.
Thank you very much, Preeti, for your for sharing this knowledge. And I'm sure that attendees who are attending must be having some kind of questions. So please share and please give us your feedback. So we are here to resolve your questions and whatever doubts you have. I will to say whatever doubts. Like it's not like we have to ask or not ask. Things should be revealed, and we have a lot of what we say courses in future. Maybe we are open for we are also are planning to come to your country to having different workshops, which will I am sure that will help you a lot. And to understand, and one-on-one counseling can be done, which will identify to to choose the exact career. What are the career options? What is the field? For example, now after COVID, there are different fields which has been now which were never rubbed. After that, due to certain circumstances, uh, one of the field is biotechnology, which is like uplifting people's morale. Now there are different AI fields coming up. So these kind of fields are there, but it cutting short, we have time constraint. So I would rather ask you people to please share your feedback through your questions. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir and ma'am, for the informative session. We are sure that the process of exploring and inquiring has begun in the minds of my friends and parents. Over to the moderator.
I'm sure there are bound to be few questions. Let us take up 1 or 2 of them. Ma'am, I would like to ask you one question, ma'am. Ma'am, do you provide integrated courses in your university?
No, we do not provide integrated courses in our university, but like in coming academic sessions, we are surely going to think over it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. You have covered most of the queries. Thank you very much, sir, for the informative session. We have many queries, and yes, the students can access the mobile app and the queries will be directly addressed. The feedback link will be shared in the chat box. Every attendee who submits the feedback form will receive a digital certificate. Over to you, Prerna.
As we draw the end of this interesting session, I deem it my great privilege to propose the vote of thanks. We extend a heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Sunil Sadasivan, for all his words of motivation. Thank you, sir. We express our gratitude to the spokesperson, Mr. Deepak Kalokhe, and Ms. Preeti Lambat for sharing details and giving us an overview of this career guidance.
Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Chairman Dr. Sivakumar Manikam and the members of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. Our heartfelt thanks to the President, Mr. Ajeenkyya, members of the Indian School Bhasha School Management Committee, and the Principal of the school, Dr. Bhavesh Balera. Heartfelt thanks to our Platinum sponsor, Jain deemed to be University, Gold sponsors, The Morpho University, Silver sponsors, Dallas Baptist University, USA, Grey Matters, SP Jain School of Global Management, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research. Bronze sponsors, Middle East College, SP Jain School of Global Management, Digital Marketing Partner, Spectrum and Trifoil, Media Partner, The Arabian Stories, and powered by support sponsors. Over to the video.
An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. Thank you to the ISB team for making Avenir 2022 possible. Thank you to each of the teachers, students, and parents for being a part of the session.
It is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task, which more than anything else will affect its successful outcome. William James. With these uplifting words, I, Valentia,
And I, Prerna,
wish you all a glorious day ahead. You can provide your feedback on the Avenir website, www.aveniroman.com. Every attendee who submits the feedback form will receive a digital certificate. Stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you.
Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag higher by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022 to Tuesday, October 18, 2022. Prominent achievers, educators, and industry experts will address the audience. Universities and educational institutes from different corners of the globe will present themselves to the audience of Avenir 2022. The event is open to all educational boards, including CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It will provide comprehensive career guidance to students to pursue their passions at national and international universities. Avenir 2022 guarantees a wealth of information and awareness on 21st century courses, scholarships, internships, and career placements. This event will assist students in discovering their ideal future career path. Let us gather together for this 5 days of excitement, effulgence, enlightenment, exploration, and exaltation. Let's join Avenir 2022 to discover you. Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag Higher, by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources, guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022, to Tuesday, October 18, 2022. Prominent achievers, educators, and industry experts will address the audience. Universities and educational institutes from different corners of the globe will present themselves to the audience of Avenir 2022. The event is open to all educational boards, including CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB. It will provide comprehensive career guidance to students to pursue their passions at national and international universities. Avenir 2022 guarantees a wealth of information and awareness on 21st century courses, scholarships, internships, and career placements. This event will assist students in discovering their ideal future career path. Let us gather together for this 5 days of excitement, effulgence, enlightenment, exploration, and exaltation. Let's join Avenir 2022 to discover you.